All right, I am really going to try to get through this without getting too emotional, and I think the best way to do that is to not talk too much about my mother. So let me just say that if it sounds like I'm rushing through this a little bit, I'll be honest and admit it's because I am. I really am. But anyway, that being said, I want to first thank you for reaching out to me and checking on me, whether it was an email or a comment on a video. Some of you just reached out to ask me if I was okay and let me know that you noticed that I hadn't released a video in a while, and you just overall let me know that my presence was missed, and y'all, that genuinely touched my heart, and I want to thank you for that. I've been one of those people who wondered whether or not genuine friendships could be formed over the internet, and now I'm honestly a lot closer to understanding exactly how that happens. But to answer the question of whether or not I was okay, initially I was like, well, it depends on when you ask me or whatever, but I can just say over the course of the last couple of weeks, I have experienced some setbacks in life, but I've also experienced something that has really gotten me to spring forward, and that thing is gratitude. And I did not want to miss an opportunity to talk to you all a little bit about that, but let me rewind it a little bit and go back 2 weeks to what was going on with me then. So first I took a trip to Houston, and I was immediately disappointed in the hotel. I ended up being disappointed in the brunch spots and all of that, but honestly I went with my very best bestie, and we ended up having a good time. We still had laughs and all of that, and I wanted to document that for YouTube. Did film a lot and also lived in the moment, but unfortunately my camera got stolen, so I'm not able to share any of that with you. And to be honest, that was one of the things that was upsetting for me. But as if that wasn't bad enough, when I got home from Houston, I discovered that my floors were flooded. And you know, they say bad things come in threes, and not to disappoint, what happened? My mother, who is elderly, fell, hit her head, got a concussion and a very big knot on it, and I ended up having to take her to the emergency room, not once but twice. So as you can imagine, I was pretty much heartsick, so much so that after our first trip to the ER, I just decided I was going to pour myself a generous glass of wine, have myself a good old-fashioned ugly cry session, and just, you know, call it a day. I literally walked to the refrigerator for that wine, and God was like, girl, you don't need no wine. And I don't know about you, but God doesn't talk to me in terms of, you know, like, Kimberly, thou art thirsty and shall drinketh the wine of nature, thou shalt drink water. What he said was, girl, you thirsty, go get you some water. So I did. I got the water, and I headed to my thermostat, because, you know, I'm going to turn it down, make it a little bit chilly, curl up under that cover, and then have that good old cry, because I'm still determined to cry, right? So I crawl up in the bed, and doggone it, I forgot to say my prayers, so I got to get back out of the bed, do that, and I'm crawling back in, and then booyah, it's going to be cry time, right? No, because this time I forgot to express my gratitude for the day. But hold on a minute. To be honest, this was actually a very bad, awful, terrible day, Lord. So when it comes to that gratitude thing, I'm going to need you to get somebody else to do it. And before I could even finish that thought, I immediately started thinking of things that, despite this being a very bad day, I was still grateful for. And now, you know, in fact, I'm charged with going back to writing those things down before I go to sleep. And I don't know where it was along in life that I decided, oh, I'm going to, you know, trade in my gratitude journal for writing down inspirations, ideas, and quotes. But I mean, that's still a good idea. That's something I might do during the daytime, but at night, I just need to go back to that gratitude journal. But anyway, getting back to that day, first of all, I had to thank God for letting us land, return home safely. I mean, yeah, I was missing something, but we were still alive, right? And that was huge. Then I needed to say thank you for pointing out the fact that I was thirsty and needed water instead of wine, because as much as I enjoy a glass of wine, I'm not dependent on it. And leaning on that glass of wine in a time of trouble could have very well been the start of me developing a dependency, you know? So yeah, I was glad that I was directed to the water instead of the wine. And I'm not going to go into all the other things for which I was grateful, but needless to say, my mother coming home from emergency was definitely one of them. But anyway, I just want to talk more about why having an attitude of gratitude is just crucial to having a happy life. So first thing, I feel like doing the right thing and showing gratitude even when you're in the midst of a struggle, in fact, especially when you're in the midst of a struggle, is a true sign of growth. And I'm one of those people. I've asked people, hey, how you doing or whatever, and they'll tell me something like, oh, I cast all my worries to God. I'm walking in God's path, and any troubles I have, I give them to God, and I'm through with them. And I feel like their comment is supposed to be an extension of the phrase that if you're going to pray, why worry, and if you're going to worry, why pray? But I think that's dismissive of the very real component of life, which is that in life we experience pain and we experience struggles. So while their comment is supposed to be admirable or maybe even enviable, in reality I end up feeling sorry for those people, because what I know is that they've already numbed themselves to life, and life is easy day in and day out. They're not really challenging themselves or even growing spiritually. And the truth of the matter is, anything that isn't growing is already dead. So this video isn't for those holy rollers, because they've already got life figured out, right? In fact, they could have been in my house a couple of weeks ago and they could have been walking on water just like Jesus. But yeah, I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to those of us who live here now on earth and in this real world, and we feel that sometimes life can actually be hard. So about that, whenever I find myself feeling low or just feeling some kind of way, I whip out a pen and paper and I start jotting down some of the things for which I'm grateful. It might be my health. It might be the health and the life of those I love. Or it could even just be the tiniest thing, like the fact that when I go to my kitchen, as expensive as it is, there's food for me there to eat. And y'all, that's huge, because in America alone, there are more than 13 million households with food insecurities. So yeah, I'm grateful for my little food. And you may have heard the commercials just like I have, where on social media, there are some platforms being sued for purposely causing addiction, which leads to people's depression and all of that stuff. And it's sad to know that so many people are comparing their lives to the highlight reels of other people's social media platforms, and they feel down about their own existence. And to some degree, that really breaks my heart for them, because what I know to be true about life is that if you focus on the things you have and you note gratitude and appreciation for those things, you're going to find more and more things entering your life for which you have to be grateful. You know what I mean? On the flip side of that coin, if you keep comparing your life to other highlights of people's lives, no matter what you have, it's never going to be enough, and you're always going to end up wishing that you had more. Like, even take YouTube, for example. Some of you have really kindly expressed your surprise that I don't have more subscribers. And I don't know if you're gaslighting me or what that is, but to be honest, what I know is that what's for me is for me. And if I'm to become successful on this platform, it's going to happen. In fact, the fact that it hasn't happened yet just tells me I've got some more growing to do. Maybe on my editing and certainly on my consistency. But whatever it is, I've got growing to do. And once I've done it, then my time will come. The fact that I've told less than 5 people about my channel, I haven't posted on TikTok, haven't posted on Instagram, or even friended anyone on Facebook. Told less than 5 people, and yet I have 72 subscribers. That's enough for me to be grateful. But on top of that, among those 72, several of you reached out to me about my absence to check on me and to let me know that my presence was missed. Y'all, that's even more to be grateful for. But yeah, going back to the people that envy other people on social media, I just know in my heart they're not practicing daily acts of gratitude. And you remember in high school when we learned about the physics of law that said no two things can exist in the same place at the same time? I think gratitude is that way. We can't be thankful and unappreciative at the same time. We can't be thankful and jealous at the same time. Like, you have to pick which one you want to be. And for me, I'm choosing gratitude, and I am strongly encouraging you to choose gratitude as well. I'm challenging you, in fact, start a gratitude journal, and for the next 2 weeks, every night, write down those things for which you're grateful and see if your life doesn't change. But let me turn this over to someone who can say it far better than I ever could.
Last year, after reading Simple Abundance, I will have to say that it's the book that changed my life the most last year. And one of the criteria for when you read Simple Abundance is that you need to start a gratitude journal. I started this one. I've kept a journal since I was 15. I've kept journals, and all my journals have always been filled with woe is me. Oh my God, I can't believe this happened. Now it did, and today, dear diary, I did. And it was only after Sarah that I started keeping a gratitude journal. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. Every day you write down at least 5 things that you are grateful for. And I have to tell you that it immensely changed my life. And I was already having a pretty good life. I am Miss Gratitude. I preach gratitude. I live gratitude. I am gratitude. I am Oprah Gratitude Winfrey, because it changes the way you see the world. No matter where you are in your life, if you can be grateful for what you have, you will begin to see that you have more.